Now, these are a little bit older, but I'm sure they're pretty comparable to today. 37.9% of fathers are denied any parenting time. That's almost half the fathers. Don't tell me half these people. The mother makes an allegation, the judges will refuse to even do anything or grant them their parenting time, simply on a mother's allegation. And you'll see that when I deal with the 14-year-old girl. 50% of the mothers see no value in the father's continued contact with the children. 40% of mothers said they had interfered with the father's parenting time to punish their ex-spouse. In other words, I didn't see my kids for 6 years. You do something they don't like go to court to enforce it. You're not seeing them. You can't talk to them on the phone. They do all sorts of things, and it doesn't make any difference. You want to pick them up at 3, your time is at 10, she wants to have the change at 12, and you say no, well, guess what? You're not getting the kids that day. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. This right here, 60% are from fatherless homes. Think of what a father could do. 90% of all homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. Believe me, I'm not saying some aren't, but most of it is because of the court system and the mothers refusing to let the fathers see the children. And the courts sit there with their thumb up there, keeping the fathers from having any relationship from the children. And you will really see one that really nails that on the head. 85% of all children that exhibit behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. Let me give you an example of that. I had a father, I don't know if I discussed this earlier, but I had a father where the judge put the child in juvie because the son said to the judge, they had already agreed that he'd always wanted to live with his father. He started getting into trouble. They go in, the mother finally relents and the law guardian relents and says, okay, the child can go with you. They walk into the courtroom. The only thing the child said, the judge asked him, do you have anything to say? And the child says the wrong thing. Your Honor, thank you for finally letting me live with my father. Can you imagine thanking a judge for now being able to live with your father is criminal? And that judge says, I'm not rewarding you. You're going to St. Coleman's home for a year. The child spent till he was 16 there when he could go because he refused to go back to the mother's house. Now, he spent 6 months or more extra because he refused to go back to the mother. The court doesn't care. When he was 16, they had to release him to the father. The kid had no problems afterwards. He wouldn't have had any problem. That kid got into trouble because of the judge refusing to do his job, that the only thing he wanted was the child to be with the mother and the father to pay child support. He could care less about the child. It's all about the mother. 80% of rapists motivated with displaced anger come from fatherless homes. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. These statistics are abominable. 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes. 85% of youth sitting in prisons grew up in fatherless homes. Translated, this means that the children from fatherless homes are 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 32 times more likely to run away, 20 times more likely to have behavioral problems, 14 times more likely to commit rape, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 9 times more likely to end up in a state-operated institution, and 20 times more likely to end up in prison. This is horrible. And what is the state's response? Keep the children from the father. This really does a number on them. But the Democrats of the state of New York don't care. If you listen to the judges and politicians, it is the fathers that are abusing and neglecting the children, when in reality, it's the mothers overwhelmingly by keeping them from the fathers. It is politically correct to blame the fathers for child abuse while ignoring the statistics, which clearly show the vast majority of abuse is caused by mothers. The slogan, women and children should be children first. I heard there are 2 new terms for mothers who abuse their children. One is primary caregiver burnout, because the father's not around, and the other is explosive rage syndrome. Now that we have new terms to explain the abuse by mothers, the abuse is not their fault. Therefore, it is all right for them to abuse the child. This is hogwash. Everybody knows it except for the judges and the social workers. The abuse has got to end. And I don't care if it's the mother, I don't care if it's the father, I don't care who's doing it. It's got to end, and we got to be taken care of in public. Doing it behind closed doors is not protecting children. There are also a lot of false reports being filed by mothers in order to obtain sole custody of the children and to get possession of the marital residence. I have heard of attorneys telling mothers, get them to hit you and you will get everything. I've had mothers actually that I've done help with tell me the attorneys had told them that. This is how every attorney will deny it, and I'm a liar. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about. According to them, everything I have here, I don't know what I'm talking about either.